Merry Christmas, everyone, and happy holidays to everyone. I know some of you may celebrate other traditions, so just know that despite this obviously being a Christmas focused video, these messages are intended for everyone. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Sarah with Divine Love Healing. Everybody is welcome here, all beliefs, all faiths. My religion is love, but I just felt really called to come on here tonight, Christmas night. I know it's been a while. I apologize for that. Unfortunately, I've been working 12, 13-hour days at my day job for what seems like an endless amount of months. So I've not been able to come on and, devote time to this practice, but I've missed it, and I'm hoping it's something, one of my New Year's resolutions that I'm able to do. I'm hoping to at least do some New Year's videos for you, and obviously this holiday pick a card reading. So I'm intending for this to be pretty short. I'm going to timestamp it, and I know the picture on the front was probably pretty quick flash there for you, but we have a rose quartz angel for number 1. We have a selenite moon, and we have, I think this is a howlite stocking. So feel free to choose one or more of these. You may want to watch all the messages to see what resonates for you. This is just intended to be what spirit, what your guides, whatever higher power you believe in, what they want you to know right now, what you need to know right now about your journey as we're wrapping up what's been a challenging year, to say the least. It has been a 9-year. Nines are about endings and completion, and it's also been the year of the snake, which is about shedding our skin. And there's a lot of also can be negative omens associated with snakes. I probably will do a separate video just kind of talking about the energy of this year and what we're looking at for the new year, kind of a reflect and reset type of thing. But I just wanted to kind of set the tone and let you guys know, of course, you're not alone, you're never alone, but it's been a challenging year, and collectively that's been the case. And some of that is because of the astrology and the numerology that we're all subjected to. So anyway, again, if you want to skip to your specific choice, you could do that. That's timestamp below. If you have any questions for me, I do accept bookings. If you visit my website, you may see that my calendar is blocked off, crossed off. That's just because my schedule shifts, and I tend to plan things kind of in advance. But if you do want a reading, please, please, please contact me via email, or you can message me on social media, and I will fit you in. And I usually can get people in pretty quickly. So please know that. Please let me know if you have any questions about that. And if you have any questions about the decks, one of them, the Christmas Tarot, is my creation, and I do have that for sale. So if you have questions about that, let me know. I've pre-shuffled, and I will take a moment once I pull these cards out to give you guys your messages. So without further ado, we are going to move on to 1. Let's see, the stocking is 3. This is 2. And so we are going to look at, again, the angel. Okay. All right, so we've got the rose quartz angel here. I think this does stand up. So let's see what you've got here for your Christmas message. Okay. So we have 2 tarot cards, and we have 3 oracle cards here. So I'm kind of just reading them in combination. So I'm getting a couple of different messages here. The first card, if you kind of heard me do that ooch kind of noise, the 5 of Swords is here, and I'll be, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not a pleasant card. The Five of Swords is often about, it can be about a betrayal, but it's in the image that I chose, in this Christmas tarot is like a winter scene. It's kind of graphic if you're squeamish, but this woman is literally holding this woman's heart in her hands. It's like somebody ripping your heart out. So I've got a couple of different messages here. One is that, you thought that perhaps somebody was going to finally come through with you, like to show up for the holidays and be together. You thought you were finally getting to that point where things were moving forward. There was going to be this success of maybe the relationship elevating to the next level, or someone showing up in a different way, in a way that you wanted them to, right? So this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a family member. But what I'm getting for some of you is that didn't happen. And some of you, I'm getting that this is kind of a culmination for you, because you have moved through that situation, or you've recognized that you need to let the situation go. And you have, been successful this holiday season at giving your time and energy to people who are worthy of it. Some of you, I'm getting for like a subset of you, this could be, you feel like your heart is ripped out because maybe there was someone you were missing this holiday season. The season didn't feel complete or like it normally does, because you didn't have that togetherness with someone. So that's just, like I said, take that if it resonates, but that's like a small subset of you. I'm getting more that this was about something that you thought was going to come full circle or elevate to the next level, because you have the Six of Wands. And you can see here, it's like the Six of Wands is a victory and success card, and it's a fiery energy, but something like, almost like a phoenix rising, but like it didn't the circle's not complete. It didn't come to fruition, and that really, really hurt you. What you have for your, I've got the Season of the Witch, I think is what it's called, the Yule Oracle, which is like a winter type theme. And this is Father Christmas. And it says, "How did thy get here? Lost perhaps? No worries at all. Gather yourself and clear the frost, for good still lives in you, dear." So some of you may feel very closed off and cold, and just like not trusting of the situation, of life in general now. Like you're just, what's the word, like cynical, guarded, and just feeling just kind of left out in the cold by the situation, feeling lost, like this says. And this is saying, gather yourself and clear the frost. This is that Six of Wands, that good is still in you. You're going to be successful, right? Once you move towards community, togetherness, people who show up for you, spending time with friends, spending time with family. I'm getting, it's just very important for you. And again, with you picking the angel, perhaps, praying to angels and guides, asking for signs, but I think you already know deep down, what you need to do. It's just finding the courage and the strength to move forward and to cut this person off or this situation off, because, I feel like it's a cycle that's repeated itself. And your angel, your archangel message that you got was life review. Archangel Jeremiel, I think is how you say it. Take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. So I think that's confirmation again that, this is, you need to start choosing yourself and showing up for yourself. And something isn't balanced, right? If you're the only one that's giving and putting in the effort, and if somebody isn't following through and isn't showing up the way that you want, need, deserve, it's not balanced. And it doesn't necessarily, I know I use the word toxic and things like that. So for some of you, they may be a good person with genuinely good qualities. It's just they're not where you are in your life, and they're not, energetically on the same frequency or on the same path, right? So you've got to make a decision, sit down in this life review, are you willing to take someone who's kind of in and out of your life and inconsistent for some type of togetherness? There could be this feeling lost of like not wanting to be alone, but it's like if they're constantly letting you down and not showing up in the way that you want and deserve, it's not a balanced situation. And I think this, that's where they are at this point. And if you want different things or need different things, you need to honor yourself and honor that. So I hope that was helpful for you. I'm sending you love and prayers, because I know these are difficult situations to get through. But like I said, I always tell people in these sessions and readings that I'm confirming what you already know. So I hope this gives you the push that you need, and the strength that you need to move forward. Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. Number 2 is the moon, the selenite moon. Actually, let me move this out of the way. Selenite is a very good clearing crystal. So that's funny that you can't make this stuff up. Okay. So what I'm getting, and it's funny that I'm laughing because, when I said it's a very good clearing crystal, and then with the cards I pull, like I'm getting the energy very much that you have been doing the work. I feel like you've, it's like the message I'm hearing is like, TikTok, the time is up, right? So, where you may, if you haven't watched the first video, you might want to. I feel like the people in phase 1 were more not sure or kind of like starting out to get to a point where they're wanting to cut off or, end a situation that's not balanced. Whereas I feel like those of you who chose number 2, you are like, the sword is out, you're ready, or you already have done that. Like you are in this phase of this year, closing out this 9-cycle year, as I was saying, you are focusing on your self-care and working on yourself and cutting out toxic people. So the tarot card that, one of the tarot cards that's here is Temperance. And that's why I was getting that message, like, TikTok, like, the time is up. She's opening up a watch. Like, it's here. This is the time. This is a card of divine timing as well. So for some of you, the message you need to hear or get reassurance about is that whatever the situation was, you can't look at it that you wasted time. There's no such thing as wasted time. You learned from it, you grew, and now you're a different version of yourself that is no longer going to settle for whatever this was, right? It could have been a job, it could have been a relationship, a romantic relationship, a friendship, even a family situation that kind of things came to a head, during Thanksgiving holiday season time frame where you're like, I've had enough of this, right? When I see the Queen of Swords that's here, that's why I laughed, because I'm like, and look at all that white there. That's so interesting. Obviously, it's a winter, Christmas deck, but she's out in the snow. Like, she's known as the Ice Queen. That's why, the selenite, when I said you might be clearing some things, man, the Queen of Swords, she has her sword out and she's not afraid to use it. She is the queen of setting boundaries, the queen of saying no, the queen of choosing herself, the queen of epiphanies and truth and clarity. So I feel like as you're closing out this year, you're poised and you're in this place to like really like you've cut away, I feel like, a lot of people, places, and situations and things that no longer serve you, and you're like, let's go, I'm ready for this next year. But recognizing that your life, everything is a work in progress, whatever. This says work in progress. But maybe you feel like you had a setback in the holiday season, Christmas. Maybe you felt sad. Maybe you were missing someone, and you felt like, man, like, I'm Queen of Swords. Like, she doesn't feel like, why am I feeling this way? Like, it's okay. Like, things that, I've worked on for years, I've worked through, and sometimes, memories get triggered, there could be things going on celestially. I mean, I'm serious, like in your specific moon chart, you know, your moon sign, and the moon is doing this and squaring this, and it can bring like crazy, like things that are just, they're buried in our DNA, you know, grief, sadness, and it's normal. And so I, you know, don't feel like it's a setback, because when these feelings come up, you're, you know, I feel like in a better position to reflect on it and journal and maybe write and burn and just like recognize that like it's okay for me to be sad, but at the same time recognizing that the version of you now wouldn't tolerate the things that transpired in the end. And you may have even, you know, you may recognize, man, had I been a Queen of Swords back then and set boundaries, this person wouldn't even have been allowed in my life, right? And so there could be just recognition. You might have tests. When I say recognition, recognition of how far you've come, recognition, reflection, but there could be tests that, you know, come back with the work in progress where you're like, oh, I've seen this before, right? And immediately you might cut this person off or say no or block someone. If you're on a dating site, you might just like swipe or block, you know, swipe off of them, or like block and burn, burn haystack method, look that up. But, you know, don't feel like you're regressing if that's the case. But I just think that like you should be very proud of how far you've come, as far as I'm just getting this energy of just like clearing away things this year. You've also got for your season of the witch, the Yule Oracle, self-care. I mean, this is beautiful. If not me, then who? To tend to a wholeness, the parts in which surrender thy pulse, for a heart that's nearer than any other. This is like, yeah, I mean, she kind of looks like that Queen of Swords vibe too. That, let's see if I can get them, you know, like very going back to her pure, authentic self and honoring that and saying, you know what, if the people in my life aren't going to honor my true essence, my true self, they're not meant to be in my life. This is beautiful because your Angel Oracle card, you got Angel Therapy, Archangel Raphael, which is one of the angels of the four directions, one of the you know, the main archangels. Raphael is the healing angel. Give your cares and worries to us angels and allow us to take your burdens. So, you know, if you've been feeling a connection with Archangel Raphael or Archangel Michael, any angels, you know, spirit guides, you know this is confirmation of that, but also know that you can call on these angels to help you through this, right? And you're on a path. I mean, if you're working on yourself and you're setting boundaries and you are, you know, clearing away things that no longer serve, right? You know, if you're not doing it already, you know, anybody, it doesn't matter where you are on your journey, right? I don't mean to imply that, you know, there's certainly certain people that can communicate with angels or spiritual beings by any means. But I'm just saying, I think, you know, if you're not doing this, you're at a point where it's like you're ready for that. And you should be doing that, right? I mean, obviously you listen to your own inner compass and what feels right, but you know that you can call on the angels. You can, you know, ask for signs. You can say, Raphael, you know, why am I feeling these emotions resurface? What is this trying to show me? Maybe there's something from your childhood that's unresolved that's being triggered here, right? And you can ask for, you know, in meditation to be taken back to a memory that maybe that you need to revisit that version of yourself, and send love to that version of yourself. But know that might be something if you go to therapy, right, to work on in your therapy. But I think, you know, you're definitely on the right track, and just know that it is normal to feel kind of like you're regressing on this journey, because it's like a spiral, and things come back around. But once you're at a certain point, which I think, you know, you are there or you're getting there, where you start to recognize that you're being tested, you start to recognize a pattern, you start to recognize, like, I'm not going to settle for this again. Once you start to recognize these things as they come back around, you're like, okay, you have the tools to, you know to call on the angels, right? To know to engage in self-care, you know, maybe yoga, maybe a massage, stillness, you know, and you know, I think maybe something for some of you still is to learn to say no to, like, if you want to stay in and you want to be an introvert, you know, don't be afraid to say no. Like, thank you for the invitation, but I think I'm going to stay in tonight. Or tell the person, I'm going to see how I'm feeling that day. Obviously, if it's like something you don't have to buy a ticket at an event to, but like they're having a gathering, just say, I'm not sure if, I'm going to feel well enough to go, I might not want to go out this weekend. Just honor and be your authentic self, right? Don't be afraid to do that. It's not an easy thing to do though. But again, I think that the longer you're on this journey, the more you recognize, and again, temperance too is about divine timing, things come back around, things come to you for a reason, and you're shown signs everywhere. The universe speaks through everyone to you and mirrors things, right? So, if you see something that triggers a memory of something in childhood and you're like, why did I have a dream about that situation? Or, you're being shown things that maybe you need to revisit and work through, or they're coming up for a reason. So I hope that was helpful for you, number 2. We are going to move on to number 3, which is the stocking. So the stocking is next. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Okay, we're just going to set this here. We've got the Christmas stocking. And, oh, this is so beautiful. Oh my goodness, you guys got some amazing cards. Wow. Very, very much spiritual connection here for number 3. And it's interesting because I don't know if you've watched the first 2, but you might want to do that. I feel like it's been this progression in energy, whereas number 1 is maybe in a situation, coming through a situation that's very challenging, maybe unsure and needing to maybe cut ties. Number 2 has been doing that, right? This has been a year of clearing. Whereas number 3, it's kind of like, I feel like you've been through that and you're very much deep into your spiritual connection, your spiritual practice, or you're at that precipice, you're at that point now where you're like, okay, what next? What next? Because I have been setting boundaries. I have been cutting out toxic people and situations, or things that, even if they're not toxic people, things that just aren't aligned, things that aren't in my highest good, things that don't resonate anymore. And maybe you're at a point too where you're recognizing patterns, you're recognizing tests and lessons, and seeing how everything is interconnected and how the world, reflects things back to you and is a mirror, and you don't, you're in this observer state more than you've been, where you're maybe not getting triggered as much, and that's where you're like, what's next? But at the same time, this can be a lonely place to be. Being on the spiritual journey, being awakened, and being on this path, it can be very lonely, and that's where we have this lonesome little teddy bear right here. Some of you, you might be missing your childhood. You may be reminiscing. There may be loved ones who are no longer with you, that that's why maybe we're having the spiritual energy here, is that there's people who are no longer physically here, and so there's this loneliness here, especially around the holidays, right? But the thing that you have to remember, and I know it's easier said than done, is that you are never alone. And whatever you believe in, right? Again, I know this is a Christmas reading, but whether you are a Christian, whether you are Muslim, whether you are Jewish, whether you are pagan, whether you are, an atheist, and maybe you don't know what you believe, agnostic, right? You're or you're not sure, right? I don't want to say agnostic because you don't know what you believe, but it's like you don't know what's out there, right? You're not willing to believe in things unless you can't see them. Some of us are just, like me, I say, my religion is love. I believe in kindness, and I connect to archangels. I connect to Jesus, ascended masters, Buddha, so for me, it's like the gamut of everything, right? So again, no matter what that is for you, there's no right or wrong. So if I might reference angels, or God, but just whatever that it means for you, that's what I want you to take it as. But you have 2 of the most beautiful I mean, two major arcana, which in tarot, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck, and there's um, like 22, I think, major arcana. I always get confused because the full zero, no, zero. But yeah, the world is 21. So yeah, there's 22. So 22 out of 78, and you got two. Not only that, in my Christmas deck, I think these are the two most beautiful images that I personally absolutely love. You got the star, which is the nativity. I mean, how beautiful is that? And then the Hierophant. This is obviously an illuminated cross in a church, but the Hierophant represents our connection to spirit, our connection to the divine, to source. It's about seeking, it's about learning, it's about, again, being in that observer state, recognizing that there is so much beyond this 3D world, right? So I feel like for many of you, it can feel lonely because maybe if you've been on this journey a long time, you're not able to relate to people who aren't awakened, who aren't spiritual, people who are materialistic, and obviously seeing some of the things that are going on in the world right now, it can be very challenging. But the thing that is constant, is always our connection to our source, to the divine, to God, to angels, whatever it is you believe, and that is within us. But that there's that guide there. There's always that guide, and you just need to ask, right? Because as humans, we have free will, and so angels and the divine. A lot of time, I mean, unless it's like something that is like a divine intervention, that is something I think our soul consciously would choose for us to happen, right? They won't interfere, right? So we have to ask, like prayer. That's it's like talk to whatever beings it is that you believe in, and go within yourself and recognize all of the work that you're doing. And I think it's yes, it can be lonely, especially around the holidays, but whatever you can do to cultivate peace in your home, especially, I mean, if you live alone, maybe that's building like making a sacred altar just with some candles and some decorations, some crystals, something that's a sanctuary for you, something that, I keep my Christmas tree and my lights, my colored lights that I have around my TV and some of that, I keep that up until probably, I don't know, middle of January or something like that. And then for winter, I put white up. I put white lights around my TV and my office. And it's just like the energy of it is just warm and inviting. And I just love to hibernate, right? It could be reading books. It could be, learning something new, taking an online course, something that, creative, tapping into your creative energy. I do know, if you are getting, like, a lot of you, again, are seekers, like you're wanting, again, what's next, what's more. I do know of someone who is offering a class that is just absolutely incredible. It's the Wisdom Studies class. It's online, and I think it starts in February. But it's kind of like real life Hogwarts. I'm not kidding you. It is just so cool. I did that for several years, and I'm still connected to the people from all over the world. But if you're interested in that, please contact me and let me know, and I can get you the information. But I feel like there is a next step for you because you're kind of in between worlds right now. You're feeling like, again, for some of you, it's you're not relating to lower vibrational people anymore, and I don't mean to insult anyone, but it's like people who have done their work, people who have gone to therapy, people who are kind, and there's a lot of like hatred, self-hatred, which is breeding hatred that is being spewed out at others. There, people who hate themselves attack others. So that's an important thing to remember, but it's kind of hard to just, to go, I just find, like, just to even go to the grocery store, just, people just seem, you can sense the energy is different. Not that they're not nice people, but they're just very much in a lower vibration, in the sense they might just have their head down, they're just not, they have this heaviness they're carrying, right? Whereas people who are going to therapy, people who are engaging in self-care, who are, maybe trained in Reiki or get regular Reiki sessions done, who engage in energy work, who look at esoteric things, who have a broader perspective, or just have an expanded consciousness, you don't relate to those people anymore. So I'm getting that for some of you. And again, some of you are having trouble maybe relating to a new life, in the sense that maybe there's been loss and people who are no longer here, and new traditions that are starting. And that has been challenging. And I think it's, again, as hard as it is, remember that you can connect with your loved ones in spirit. You can still do that. They're still there guiding you. You can ask for signs from them. Ask for them to visit you in dreams. Ask for, something that they, that they know, right? It's something that would be like random, right? Like if you go to a place, typically, let's just say you're walking in a place, like you're always at a zoo, or you're always around animals, and so there's, like, in the woods, and let's say there's always feathers everywhere. So maybe finding a feather isn't going to be something that's like, but maybe you never see cardinals, or you never find a red feather. You've never found a red feather. And so the fact that, like, you've put it out there, all right, I would love to get a red feather. Things like that can help bring you peace the more that you connect to your loved ones and to spirit, okay? So let's see what your Yule Oracle says. Offerings. I give to you my heart's intent, wrapped in gratitude and thankfulness, devotion in exchange for your presence. Here I am, gifting my essence. This is beautiful. This is, to me, about gratitude, right? Engaging in a gratitude practice. While you might be feeling loss and sadness in some areas, it's important to remember to give gratitude for things daily, even small things. It really does make a difference and shift your vibration. This could be, about opening your heart. And I get, devotion in exchange for your presence. Here I am, gifting my essence. I feel like, this is about spiritual devotion, connecting to God, connecting to angels. But it also could be, maybe volunteering somewhere. Maybe that would be something that would help you feel connected. Just doing a good deed for someone. I saw something on the internet. I thought this was so wonderful, that I wish I would have seen before. But I don't go out that often to stores and things. I get a lot of stuff delivered. And I did, like, do extra tips for my drivers. But, sometimes it's like the gift of, like, being anonymous can feel even better, because you're putting it out to the universe, maybe, like, of who's going to need this. And then you're not like, oh, I'm doing this to seek recognition. Not that I was doing that, right? But it's like, you don't want to put that person on the spot that they have to react a certain way or whatever. So people were going into Target or whatever, the grocery store, and they were going to the baby section, and they would stick, like, a $20 bill, $20 bill, whatever, into a box of diapers, or into formula, like where there was a slot, they would stick in the money. And so it would just be this, people, obviously, new mothers, families have a lot of expenses with bringing a child into the world. So just something like that, offering your time, offering your heart, but you can do things in small ways too. I'm getting, for some of you, this is going to be a year coming that's about diving deeper into your spiritual practice and your spiritual gifts. So you may want to look at getting certified in Reiki. You may want to look at, diving into, getting some runes or oracle decks, tarot, really connecting more into that and tapping into your gifts. So your Archangel Oracle card is Raziel, Spiritual Understanding. I am bringing you esoteric information and symbols and helping you understand spiritual truths. That's so interesting, because I think earlier I did use the esoteric term, and I don't normally use that word. That's so bizarre. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm also getting Saint Germain here with the purple and the sacred geometry, but sacred geometry is something that you might want to look into. Again, where it's saying I'm bringing you information and symbols. This is just to look deeper for signs. You know, as if you're walking past someone and you overhear a conversation and you hear snippets of words and they stand out to you, there could be messages there, right? If you keep seeing like you got angel numbers, um, animal totems, messages in your dreams, start journaling these things and paying attention. But I'm getting to that for some of you. I mean, this is like connecting and tapping more into this, into these studies, like these wisdom studies that I mentioned, might be good for you. Reading more, getting decks, and a lot of decks, come with booklets that you can read and get information. It's going to bring you a lot of peace. There's a dove there. A lot of peace, and help you move to the next level in the sense of, and it's perfectly normal to feel lonely, absolutely, on this journey, absolutely. But you do get to a point where you, like, again, if you have that place of solitude. And if you don't have that at home, let's say you have young kids and there's not like quiet, like maybe you can find that on a yoga mat. Maybe you can, take an hour for yourself a couple days a week and go to yoga. Yin yoga is one where you can just be still. But I find I get a lot of peace and I get a lot of clarity and epiphanies and things like that on the yoga mat. But I think where I was going with that was like the next level is having your sanctuary, having your place where you are just in this peace and you are just in this, it's like, it's okay. You recognize that there has been a shift, right? And I think that's where some of you, like at level 3, where you might be feeling kind of this weird, like there has been a split in worlds. We're not going to physically have a new earth like some people, have taught, and there was a belief of that, I think, for a long time. It's a split in consciousness. So while we still exist on this 3D planet, we are living a different reality in some ways than the people who choose fear, violence, negativity. That, energy and the laws of attraction, things have a way of working out, or you at least recognize, while there may be challenges as being a human being on this planet, no matter your vibration, there are challenges, but you recognize the ebb and flow, and you recognize that that you will get through it, and that you are supported on this journey always. Like-minded people, seek them out. Like I said, a community. Seek out wisdom and seek out connection to you and to your higher self, and always stay true to yourself. So I hope that was helpful for you. Again, I will hopefully be on here doing some more readings this holiday season, but if you would like to schedule your own session, then please contact me. That information is below. Thank you.